So it's potentially bad news for Warner Brothers and Aquaman 2, as they may be sued over whether or not they disclose AHs in the movie. That's right. See, currently there's a lawsuit going on in Hollywood that calls out the lying in advertisement. Now, this is a big deal for Hollywood too, and for companies like Warner Brothers who don't want to disclose what's going on because they know it could hit them at their bottom line. See, this lawsuit is about deceptive practices, tricking people into spending money they otherwise wouldn't spend. Why? Because you lie about advertisement. This would include oral or written statements, visual descriptions, or representations of any kind, any capacity in which you get spending money. This could be devastating for companies like Warner Brothers with products like Aquaman 2. You and I, we're going to talk about that today. Fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day. By the way, I hope you are doing excellently. Now, when I say that Warner Brothers, they could potentially be sued over not disclosing whether AH is or isn't in Aquaman 2, that's what this type of lawsuit here, it would actually do. I mean, the power of it would resculpt Hollywood. It could cost them hundreds of millions of dollars. This would be absolutely crazy. See, what this lawsuit does is it puts Hollywood on blast for deceptive practices. And when you look through what the plaintiff here is saying, this also is class action. So you have an individual and you have many people talking. I mean, think about the parallels with Warner Brothers, with their DC movies, and especially the complaints about Aquaman 2. See, looking at one of many plaintiff statements in this, a plaintiff says that on or around October 31st, 2021, they sat down and they watched a movie trailer on Amazon.com. Now, this movie, it is about yesterday, but again, it could be any movie whatsoever. And again, think about the parallels you see, especially from companies like Warner Brothers. The movie trailer, which the plaintiff viewed, they say, was false, misleading, and deceptive. Why? Because amongst other representations, the trailer promoted a specific actress that would be in the film. That's why the person bought into it. They thought that this actress, they were going to be there. This is Ana de Armas. But again, it could be any actress whatsoever. What did they find out after they picked that up? They weren't there. They did not appear in the film at all. Relying on the false, deceptive, and misleading representations, they ended up spending money. They say they spent $3.99 by paying to view the falsely advertised movie. The plaintiff suffered injury, in fact, and lost money. Now, the argument that I find intriguing in this is that Hollywood, they try to answer litigation like this by saying, hey, these are our First Amendment protections. Essentially showing you an advertisement, hyping up a movie, all of that stuff, it falls under free speech protections. The lawsuit says, no, that's not it at all, because you take money from us, therefore you violate many laws. Here, their count one, they're saying it's a violation of the California unfair competition law, which is defined as unfair competition to include any unlawful, unfair, or fraudulent business act or practice, as well as any unfair, deceptive, untrue, or misleading advertisement. You notice that right there? Now, their second claim is one that I found really interesting. Why? Because it talks about the California false advertisement law, or the FAL, saying that they violated it. And when you look at this, I mean, think about the types of advertisement that would fall into this violation. I mean, we're talking about not just newspapers or publications. They say any advertising device or by public outcry or proclamation. That includes over the internet. So go out, try to advertise a product, try to get people to pay money deceptively. That's a problem. It doesn't matter what form that deception takes. Now, these protections aren't just limited to places like California either. In fact, most states have some type of protection like this. I mean, you have Maryland listed here since this is class action lawsuit. And when I'm reading over these violations, I mean, think about, again, what Hollywood does in general, but specifically what Warner Brothers has been doing with their DC movies, with James Gunn coming out, with what happened with with Aquaman 2, and if they don't disclose the reality there. I mean, listen to this. So the Maryland Act expressly notes that unfair or deceptive trade practices, they include falsely disparaging or misleading oral or written statements. So right there, I mean, we're not just talking again about an advertisement on TV. We're talking about all the news articles, about all the PR that they push and more. Visual description or other representations of any kind, which has the capacity, tendency, or effect of deceiving or misleading consumers. So, trying to get you to spend money on something that is not there, that is not clarified, again, that has the capacity to get you sued. Representation that consumer goods, consumer good there, realty, or consumer service have sponsorship, approval, accessory, characteristic, ingredient, use, benefit, or quantity, which they do not have, deception, fraud, false pretense, false premise, misrepresentation, knowing concealment. Knowing concealment. Yeah, that sounds about right. Suppression or omission. Omission too. So concealment or omission of any material fact with the intent that a consumer rely on the same in connection with the promotion or sale of any consumer good, consumer realty, or consumer service. So again, that's spelled out very bluntly. You lie to your customers about something, you mislead them to get their money. Again, this should be a problem, and a big problem for that. Now, as far as what's being requested here is concerned, you can see why Hollywood would want to fight this thing tooth and nail, because when one company falls to this, other companies will fall. Again, you could bring up Warner Brothers. They do the exact same thing. They've been doing it real time right now. Well, you have the plaintiffs here asking, give me my money back. Also, why don't you give us damages? Plus, while you're at it, recognize this thing as a proper class action. That would mean bringing on thousands, if not tens of thousands or more people, giving them their money back. And on top of that, stopping the deceptive practices. You know, they'd have to stop putting out deceptive trailers, deceptive advertisement. They would have to clarify what's going on. Yeah, that's something a lot of companies, and especially a Warner Brothers right now with everything that's going on, they desperately don't want to happen. Again, this lawsuit ends up finalized before the year is out. Oh man, you may just see some lawsuits over over Aquaman 2. Warner Brothers, it just keeps getting worse and worse for them. But anyway, let me know what you think about this. And as always, appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. Can't say that enough. Want to help with the channel? Links are in the description. Appreciate you too. I'm going to end here. I'm going to say thank you again. Also, hope the holidays, they are great for you. Appreciate you folks. We'll continue this into 2023. Let's have some fun.